Pizza, you ever hear of it? The Italians took dough, took marinara sauce, took cheese, took different meats and other toppings and stuff. They took them all together and they made pizza. You may be asking yourself, if you didn't read the title, why am I going off about pizza? Well, the reason I'm talking about that is because there was a recent feud in the pizza community. So basically, Barstool Sports and Jack's Pizza, the Midwest pizza company, recently had a feud. But before we get into that, I need to tell you guys about each different each side and just give you backstory. So let's start off with Barstool Sports. So basically, Barstool Sports was a sports blog, created by Dave Portnoy in 2003, and in Massachusetts. I'm just saying that so that then when you hear the guy's voice, you aren't surprised. So basically, they did that, and then in 2013, as far back as I could tell, they started doing pizza reviews. So I'll play the first one here right now.
Nantucket pizza review. Steamboat pizza, supposedly the best pizza on the island. One bite, everybody knows the rules. One bite, score. Looks good. Ask for it well done. One bite, score.
Is that a normal thing? Because I hear him talk about this a fair bit in other reviews. He's like, oh, I like a pizza well done. Does that mean like the cheese like browning? Or what? What does it mean to have a pizza well done? So yeah, basically that was his first pizza review. Now they've definitely changed since this video. So now what he does is basically he will order the pizza and then he'll go right outside the restaurant right there and he'll review the pizza right in front of the store. So yeah, and then he usually won't give a pizza a round number. He'll usually give it like an 8.2 or a 7.3 or something like that. So they've definitely changed and evolved over time, but that's to be expected with any show. And obviously he's not going to go down to the beach every single episode to just review a pizza and run down the coast. So now that you know about Barstool Sports, let's get into Jack's Pizza. Now, I don't know much about Jack's Pizza aside from their Midwest pizza chain, frozen pizza chain. So I'll just read you a quick description on Nestle's website. In 1960, in the small town of Little Chute, Wisconsin, a man named Jack had a vision to create the perfect pizza. Jack's Pizza was born. Back then, pizzas were handcrafted with the perfect combination of meats, sauce, and cheeses. Jack started his pizza kitchen in the family garage and delivered pizzas using the family car, a 49 Plymouth, with one bucket seat. Yes, times were pretty simple back then, and Jack's Pizza was one of life's simple pleasures. Today, Jack strives to continue the tradition that began in 1960 to provide pizza lovers everywhere the same great quality and taste they deserve. Taste a slice of the Midwest. Taste Jack's. Now, this isn't an ad for Jack's. If anything, it's very much the opposite. You'll understand later. But basically, Jack's, just to kind of summarize that if you weren't paying attention, Billy. But basically to summarize that, Jack's is a Midwest pizza chain, and the reason that Jack's is relevant with Barstool Sports, something that's on the East Coast, why they even have their eye on Jack's, a Midwest place in the first place, is because for one, they review places all around the states, but secondly, since quarantine hit and they had to essentially stop going to restaurants and stuff, they had to then go to frozen pizzas and do that, and that's why frozen pizzas are even a thing on their radar, because usually they go to places and they don't do frozen stuff. So basically, what happens after Dave starts doing frozen pizza reviews, people are requesting, oh, do Jack's, and he's like, okay, I'll reach out. They'll probably send me a pizza because other companies were sending him pizzas to review, which is smart because then they can get more light shined on them, and they're like, oh, this will be good for my business. I'll then sell more pizzas if Dave, a relatively big channel, reviews my pizza. But when it comes to Jack's, they say no. And it's not like Dave was asking very much. He was asking for one pizza, one singular pizza, just for the review. He was asking for one pizza, and Jack still says no. Jack is like, no, we can't do that. We need to stock the shelves, which is smart, but I'm pretty sure they could afford to send him one extra pizza. I'm pretty sure, because they're going to get probably an influx of people buying Jack's pizzas, they would be able to do it. Essentially, or not essentially, but especially because they're owned by Nestle, they're able to do it. And let's look at what their net worth is as a company. Jack's Frozen Pizza is a well-known pizza brand that started in 1960. Jack's is owned by Nestle and had 55.54 million in sales in 2018 alone. So they could have easily done it, assuming that they had the same numbers last year and are on the same pace for that this year. I'm pretty sure they could afford to send Dave one singular goddamn pizza. Oh, I also forgot to mention, Jack's is the only company to not send him a pizza. According to Dave, every single company sent him a pizza aside from Jack's. Everyone he reached out to was like, hey, can we get a pizza? And they're like, yeah. But then when it comes to Jack's, they're like, no, we're greedy. We can't send you a pizza. We don't want to have good marketing. Fuck you. Dave still was able to review Jack's, but they still didn't send him the pizza, and since he's on the East Coast, he wasn't able to go to a store and buy it. I'm assuming it's only in the Midwest, but basically, fans ended up sending Dave the Jack's pizza for him to then review. So basically, the review starts, and he just is essentially saying what I've said already about how he started doing frozen pizzas, and now he's reached out to a bunch of companies, and Jack's Pizza said, fuck you. And yeah, so I'll kind of cut to the part in the video where he doesn't say what I just said. Thanks, Dave. Hey, this is gonna skip around a lot until we get to the review in Dave's video. So, yeah, if Dave's video seems really choppy, just know that was my doing while editing. So, yeah, enjoy the rest of the video.
Every frozen pizza company in the world got involved. They said, hey, we stand behind you as one nation under pizza, indivisible by God. We'll send you the pizzas. Hedgie sent it. Lots of Matzah sent it. You name it, I'm getting it everywhere. I got so many pizzas in that oven, I got nowhere to breathe. And when I say oven, I mean freezer.
So basically, why he specifically mentions Hedgie's and Lots of Matzah, I'm assuming, is because those are both Midwest companies. I'm pretty sure they both may be Minnesota, but I don't know. But I just know that they're both Midwestern pizzas. So I'm assuming that's why he mentioned them, just because it's like, hey, these other Midwestern people were able to send it. Why not you, Jax? Bitch.
In the time that this clown on Instagram wrote this long paragraph, like, we can't do it, you're not that important, we can't send you one pizza. I'm not. I'm just one man trying to entertain people and give reviews. These fuckers could have sent me a pizza. And by the way, I'm getting pictures of Jack's in freezers, and they're fucking overflowing. They can't give them away. There's no shortage of Jack's. These cocksuckers thought they were too good for the game. And I mean that with no disrespect, calling him a cocksucker. There's probably just one fucking twerp with zits all over his fucking face, an intern running the Jack's social media page who's like, oh, let me write this fucking, why I can't, let me write fucking 10,000 words on why I can't send him one fucking pizza.
So he says that there's plenty of frozen pizzas of Jack's, and they couldn't send him one. That is very true. Like, yes, you want to keep as many pizzas as possible for the stores, especially since we're in a crisis or whatever the hell. But they could afford to give him one singular pizza. So, it's just, Jax, you're goofing so bad, buddy. Jax, you're goofing so bad. You could easily make tons of more money, assuming Dave gave you a good score. But you just entirely just nixed all of that, and you just made him more pissed, which in turn is going to make him give you a bad score for this review. But that's not to spoil anything else. Keep watching, please.
I'm going to try to keep this on the up and up, because I'm like straight Al Gennaro. I'm not going to be fucking warped and let my score be altered by the fact that you're a cocksucker, no disrespect, because it could be just one idiot on social media. Hey, if you don't want to send me a pizza, fine, but don't write 8 gazillion words on why you can't, because I'm a can-do guy. I'm a can-do. I don't want to hear can't. I want to hear can. Or just ignore it. We wouldn't have said a word if you just ignored it. Oh, they didn't get the message. We'll get it from somebody else.
So he's more so pissed about the fact that they said, hey, we can't, because of it is very, hey, no, fuck you. It's a very fuck you thing on Jack's part, or the intern, as Dave likes to say. It's very fuck you in the way that they go about it, and they could have just very well ignored it, because in the past, from what I hear, I would assume that most companies would just ignore shit like that and just be like, yeah, fuck you, it's not gonna do anything, and maybe they didn't provide enough info that like, hey, this will very much benefit you in the long term once the video comes out, but they just didn't see that they have blinders on, where they're just like, fuck you, you're nobody, you're just trying to get free pizza. But it's like, they asked for one goddamn pizza. They asked for one pizza, and it's like, fuck you. It's like, Jax, you're fucking up, bud. Bud, you're goofing yourself.
I'll give you a fair run, because I'm a fair fucking guy. So I have no grudge. I'm not holding a grudge against these assholes.
He says that there's going to be zero bias. There's going to be no bias here. I beg to differ. There's going to be a little bit that influences him. But I'm going to continue on with the video and let you think for yourself and with the score that he gives, because I already know, because that's how commentary videos work, where you already watch the video to do research, obviously. So let's just go on and let's see his review.
Oh, look at this little floppy piece of shit. Look at this floppy piece of shit. Look at this fucking floppy piece of shit. I'm not even making that up. That is just a weak, limp dick. A weak, limp dick.
So, there's a couple things I want to cover. But, first of all, his limp dick joke failed. Now, it did land the second time around, not the fourth time around, the second time around, because he first says lick dimp. Look at that, lick dimp little pizza. Then he does a double take. He looks around, he's just like, no one heard that, right? I heard that, Dave, I heard that. Then the second thing I want to cover, second, not fourth, second. It's kind of ironic, the fact that the pizza is floppy. There's a big flop on the pizza, which also could have been to his detriment because he didn't cook it long enough, because the cheese looks not quite done all the way. But I'm not going to argue it, because he's a pizza guy. I'm not. I cook pizzas very rarely. But when I do, I cook them to where they're not very floppy. But maybe Jax is just inherently floppy. I don't know. But it's kind of funny that the pizza is so floppy when Jax flopped on giving Dave a pizza. Now, I don't normally use that in that way, but it kind of seemed goofy or ironic rather, that is the case.
I'm rooting for greatness. I fucking love Jax. But of all the frozen pizzas we've done, the first one that just falls like a floppy little, flaccid little phallic symbol, kid show, Jax.
Yes, kids show, as you're calling Jax cocksuckers. Yes, kids show.
Show some fucking guts one time. No disrespect at all. I want this thing to be the best pizza I've ever had, and I'll be fair. One bite, Jax. Man, I wanted it to be good. I really did. Well, maybe it was the way it was sent to me, because maybe it didn't stay frozen or something. I don't know, because people had to send it to me as opposed to the professionals like everybody else, because he's on that computer typing a fucking thesis, doing the theory of life and the Bible and shit, and can't send one pizza. It doesn't have bad taste, to be honest. It's just so floppy. It just has no spine, no backbone, no will to succeed, no will to entertain, no will to give people hope. Other than the fact it's so fucking floppy, it's actually not that bad. I told you I was going to keep it real. I am nothing else, not the most honest pizza reviewer of all time. I don't let outside factors influence me.
I don't like the hubbub. I don't like my personal opinions. I don't like grudges. None of that. So, yeah, this is really floppy pizza. The taste, not the worst I've ever had. So I'm going to give it a very honest 0.08. That's a review. Jax, told you I'd keep it real.
Jesus, that is the lowest I've ever seen him give. And I've watched a fair bit of his reviews. And even at the end of this video, it shows that the highest is a 7.4 and the lowest is 0.08 with Jax. But before that, it was DiGiorno, which was 2.8. Jesus. Now, it could very well have to do with his interactions, which I think it did affect it a little bit, because just in his head subconsciously, whether or not he wanted to or not, I think in his head he was just giving like, oh, I want it to be good, but deep down he was like, this is shit, fuck Jax. But I don't know, I'm not in Dave's head, surprisingly, so I don't know what the deal was. But yeah, that is really low. I thought maybe it would have been like a, given what he was kind of talking about, I thought maybe like a 1.1 or some shit like that. But when I heard 0.08, it's like, what the fuck, dude? That is bad. But from what I remember, I haven't had Jax in a while, but I remember it being pretty decent. But I don't know. So now to talk about Jack's scummy marketing. So basically, if you don't know who Gus Johnson and Eddie Burback are, they have a podcast where they do it every week, and they just essentially just talk and just shoot the shit for an hour or so. But basically, they've talked about Jax on their podcast a fair bit. But they were in talks with Jax on Twitter, talking about doing something, and that's been in the works since December 9th, and they haven't heard anything since then. So it just seems to be very much Jack's thing, I guess, to not be great with other creators, I guess, to work well with creators. I don't know. It's just that they don't know how to advertise, I guess, because Jax, it is good from what I remember, but they aren't great with marketing, because obviously they've been able to last the last 60 years. Clearly they're doing something right with just marketing in general, but with creators, they're missing out. They very much missed out, because this review, it's doing nothing but deter people from Jax, where they want to where usually he's like, oh, go support these guys, but with this, it's giving off a very different message, where obviously it is kind of a smart thing, and it's like, yeah, you have grudges, okay, deal with it how you will. But basically, Jax, you need to learn to be better with your marketing, because this did not give you good press. They could have benefited so much after this review went out. They could have benefited greatly, and it could have been really good for Jax, but they had to be stubborn assholes and be like, no, we're not giving you a pizza, we need to save those for the shelves. But I've seen no shortage of Jax from where I've gone, so maybe it was just like, maybe it was just a roundabout way to be like, hey, nope, don't wanna, whereas people are still able to buy Jax. And like, it's like, yes, they do want the most pizzas as possible, but it's one pizza. It's one pizza, Jax. It's one pizza. You could have sacrificed that. But who am I to say? I'm just some dumb kid in his basement screaming about pizza. So, yeah, that's it. Bye-bye.